Okay. Okay. I had to look up at the TV and make sure we were on.
Okay.
Hallelujah. Most praise to the Most High Yah. We want to welcome everybody here on this Shabbat to a Shabbat day class. We also want to welcome you to the truth. Um, what we're calling the truth broadcast from now on. We are still affiliated with the ARC, and we are still the ARC DFW, but we want to give you a more applicable way of seeing Torah, a more pliable way of understanding Scripture, that you may be able not only to hear the word of the Most High Yah, but have an idea of how to apply it to your life, your daily walk. That will give you shalom, and not only give you shalom, but give you better understanding of who you are, whose you are, and why you are. So, to everybody here today, we want to just say Total Rabah for coming through. We want to also thank Malak bin Israel for coming in and assisting me with these classes. Before we get started, I want to tell y'all, all those who have been asking, all those who have been wondering what has happened and why we have kind of been quiet for the last few months. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you now. We're gonna get this out of the way, and then we're gonna move forward. I've been sick. Um, I've been dealing with the loss of my family members, my parents, helping my kids recover from the loss of their mother. So we've been going through some things, and I could not truly focus on doing those things that I felt like I needed to do to help you or to give you the word. Um, hey, Malak, you got something hanging in your screen. Um, Henceforth, why I stepped away and took this hiatus so that I could have a moment of clarity and a moment of, just trying to get myself back together with the Most High. Um, it came with a cost. It's come with some hardships, but I also believe that all things happen for the glory of the Most High. And so sometimes you got to step back, you got to regroup, and you got to do those things that when you get an understanding, that are pleasing in the Most High sight. So, Malak, give you a moment to introduce yourself to everybody, or reintroduce yourself um,
Yes.
with everybody here.
Shalom, 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 everybody. Uh, Again, it's always for me. It's always wonderful to uh, get away and connect back to the Most High. I know Yemi has been away for a minute. I've been actually been doing some things myself, trying to focus on my company, and it's been really challenging. Again, I'm not going to make an excuse for that, because again, even on my own channel, I haven't really been doing much, because again, for me, I really, really and truly want to be able to offer the people more than just some Bible verses. I really want to offer a solution. And one of the biggest things I think we have as a people is we want to read the Bible, we want to believe in the Bible, but a lot of times we really just don't know how to make this apply to us, make this book apply to us in our everyday functions, whether it's in our household or whether it's with our friends or family or business and stuff like that. So I really want to, I told Yemi that I really wanted to focus on making this, as we teach or as we show or as we grow, how to use a lot of this in our everyday life. Because again, this book is it's not about just reading, it's a lifestyle. And a lot of our people don't really understand how deep that goes when I say a lifestyle, and it's not a religious book. This is a book of law. And hopefully, as we grow through and we grow and we go through this journey, I can begin to connect the dots and be able to show you how these things really apply to us in our everyday life. So anyway, so I just want to share that.
Thank you. Thank you. Real time applications for real time situations. This is not this book may be ancient, but the fundamentals and the foundation of this book are still applicable this day. Realize this: the Father's word never will not return to him void. So everything that he spoke then still is relevant today. And so I want to talk to you today. Well, Malak and I want to talk to you today about the inheritance, about the covenant, and what this covenant entails. I'm hearing a lot of people, and what brought me to this. Actually, I was on the phone with my niece, and her and I were talking, and she was telling me how she went to a church, and the pastor told her, well, was preaching that Jesus died for our sins and all this, and he said the sins of Adam and Eve. And I started thinking about what the scripture really walked out and why he truly had to come, and what the meaning of his return signified. So we're going to start today in let's start at Genesis 15. And then when we leave Genesis 15, we're going to go to Deuteronomy 29 for a minute. And we're going to cover a couple of verses here and there. And we're going to give you an understanding of the value of a covenant, what it entails. And this might be more than a week-long message. So I don't want y'all to get all, get anxious, because this might take some time. We don't want to rush this because this is important to know. Now, I'm going to throw up a couple of words, and I'm gonna first throw these words up, and then I want Malak to read Genesis chapter 15. Okay, so the first word is inheritance. Okay, and I want you to look into the word inheritance and not only what it means to you, but what scripturally it may mean. Then I want you to look up trust. What is a trust and what is the importance of a trust? And then I want you to look up the words trustee and covenant. So those four words: inheritance, trust, trustee, and covenant. These
I'm just not going to go. Keep on going. Keep on going.
So as we go into Genesis chapter 15, we're going to set this off by understanding where your inheritance or where the trust came from that you are to receive if you are a member of the children of Israel, or if you are a descendant. Not only, look, this is very important. There were promises made to the children of Abraham. There were promises made to all of Abraham's seed. But you also have to understand that there was a trust and an inheritance set aside exact for the children of Israel alone. Being a child of Abraham makes you a Hebrew because he was a descendant of Eber. But understand there is an inheritance that you will receive being a child of Israel or Jacob, Yaakov. But it all starts with Abraham. So let's go into Genesis chapter 15, and we're gonna have Brother Malak start reading. Um, what verse you want to start reading it out?
I'll just start reading some of from verse 1. I'll start off reading from verse 1.
Okay.
After these things, the word of Yahweh come unto Abraham in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abraham, I am I am thy shade, and thy excellent great reward. And Abraham said, Yahweh thy Elohim, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the steward of my house is this Eleazar of Damascus? And Abraham said, Behold, to me thou hast given no seed, and lo, one born in my house is my heir. And behold, the word of Yahweh come unto him, saying, Thus this shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thy own bowels shall be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad, and said, Look now toward heaven, and tell the stars, if thou be able to number them. And he said unto him, So shall thy seed be. And he believed in Yahweh, and he counted it to him for righteousness. Okay, so you want to stop there? You want to add some commentary, or you want me to keep going?
Yeah, I'm gonna have some commentary to this.
Okay, go ahead.
So to know what Abraham is going through in chapter 15, you have to also understand that there was a battle fought in chapter 14. And because Abraham was obedient to the Most High and listened to the Most High, even when the Most High first appeared to Abraham and told him to leave Ur the Chaldees and to go travel into these other lands, the Father accounted this to him as righteousness. This began a relationship or a bond between one who had something and the one that he was going to make the heir of it. So when you start reading further along, he establishes something with Abraham. Abraham tells him in chapter 3, then Abraham said, look, I have, I give me no, you give me no offspring in my house. I have no heirs. And behold, the word of the Most High came, saying, This one shall not be your heir, but out of your own bowels shall be an heir. So he was telling him, look, what I'm going to give you, you have to be able to pass down, basically. And
Mm-hmm.
Abraham was making this important because he was saying, you're going to give me all this stuff, but I don't have no heir. So what good is it going to be for you to give it to me? And when I die, I got to give it to someone that may not be worthy of it. But the father told him, listen, don't worry about this. I know you're old man. I know you're 90 years old. You're about 90 at this time. I'm gonna give you an heir out of your own, out of yourself, out of your own loins, out of your own bowels. I'm going to give you someone to carry on or to receive this inheritance. Because it's very important, because what the Most High is about to give Abram, when you see what the Father is going to give him, he's actually giving him what truly belonged to Shem. But that's another lesson for another time. He's going to give him what was taken away from Shem. All the lands that should have been Shem's that the Hamites took, he is now going to render them back to Abraham and his seed. All right, go ahead,
Let,
Aki.
let, let me cover something right fast,
Okay.
because again, like I say, we want to make this, try to make this apply as much as possible. This is a Black Law Dictionary, right? It's a Black Law Dictionary. We're gonna go to inherit, right? Going to the word inherit. Inherit. to take by inheritance, to take as an heir. Remember, the most forefather Abraham said he didn't have an heir. So again, to take as an heir on the death of an ancestor, to take by descent from an ancestor, to take or receive as a right of title by law from ancestors at his decease. So again, it goes back to what you just said, is about Abraham had no heir, so he was, the Most High gave him a promise that his heir was going to receive the land that was promised to Shem. Let me do this also before I go back to Genesis chapter 15. Let me do this here right fast. Matter of fact, you know what? Matter of fact, let me do this here. We're going back to Genesis 15.
Okay.
And I'm gonna jump down to verse 18, but I'm gonna come back. Back up.
Go to verse 18.
Okay. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High Yahweh. And he blessed him and said, "Blessed be Abraham, the Most High Yahweh, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be the Most High Yahweh, which had delivered thy enemies into thy hand, and give him tithes of all." So here's a covenant being established. Okay. I'm sorry. I read the wrong verse.
I understand.
Salak.
But
Salak.
that was
Salak.
that's
But there was a covenant. There was a covenant. Yeah, I went to 14. Let me go to 15, my bad. I read the wrong verse. But there was a covenant being established there. Let's go 15 and 18, my bad. Salak. In the same day, Yahweh made a covenant with Abraham, saying, "Until thy seed have I given this land, from the rivers of Egypt and to the river of Ethiopia, of Euphrates," my bad. Okay, and Kintu in Kin, I guess you pronounce it Kazat.
Yeah, the Kenites.
And the Canaanites, yes, and the Kenites, Kizites, and the Canaanites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Rephaims, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Geshemites, and the Jebusites.
Right.
So when we look at this, when we really look at this, you can see a boundary. So the land that the Most High was giving to Abraham and to his heirs had a boundary. It's like think about it like this here. Let's say you go and buy a parcel of land, or you go and buy a lot. You would have to go to maybe the county, or go to the state, or go to the city, and they'll tell you, based upon what plot of land you bought, you have a certain number. You have so many feet, or so many acres, and they will have a number by those acres, right? By that parcel of land.
Correct.
Showing you the boundaries. So the Most High gave boundaries, gave the land boundaries. So just based off the geographical location, we can see that the heir had to inherit a large geographical location dealing with property. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at us as a people today, this is one of the things that we're missing, because this is how you generate generational wealth. This is one of the things that help us generate generational wealth, is property. And being that we also disenfranchised from property and from land, this is why we're at a disadvantage financially. So anyway, I just want to throw that out there. But go ahead.
But you also got to realize too, in verse 18, he's also establishing this. He gave them the boundaries from the rivers of Egypt to the rivers of Euphrates.
That's right.
So, do you got a map that you can pull up?
Oh, yeah. Give me a second. Go ahead, talk. Let me see
So,
if I can find
so
something.
basically, from the rivers of Egypt, we're talking about the Nile, and from the Nile all the way over to Baghdad. I want you to, I want you to understand how big this area is. So, starting in the west with the Nile River, going back east all the way to the Euphrates. Everything in between that is the inheritance of Israel. This includes Saudi Arabia. This includes all those areas that have been fought over for years as territory. It also includes all of for most of Kuwait, most of Iraq, and all these areas are the inheritance of Abraham. Not that little strip of land that they fighting over right now in the Gaza Strip. That
Yeah.
is a portion of what is the inheritance of Israel.
I think this one here it may be kind of fuzzy. Uh, you know what? Hold on. Let me see if I can find one a little clearer. But go ahead, finish speaking.
So when you look at this, you'll understand how much we have lost and why, when you look at it, you say, why is this happening to us right now? Because for one, every nation, okay, this is good. This is good. You got a slight glare. But let's see. Um, so it's kind of backwards.
Yeah, you know how
Okay,
it's
so
gonna show the
you
video backwards. It's gonna show the
right.
video. Yeah.
Well, it's actually pretty good. So if you look at all of Iraq, I got to see where the Euphrates is. Go up, pull it up a little bit.
Oh, okay.
Malak, lift up a little bit. Okay, so when you
Oh,
look,
let me
so
go
when
back.
you
Go ahead.
so when you look at the Euphrates River, it basically cuts off modern day. Okay, that's good. So everything in the green. So if you look at everything in the green, from half of Iraq, Syria, all the way over Saudi Arabia, Jordan, the Sinai Peninsula, all the way into um, the eastern part of Egypt or the eastern part of Africa, running downwards. All of that belongs to you. So everything east of the Nile River, going back westward to the Euphrates, is our inheritance.
Mm-hmm.
So forgive me for saying Iran, but a portion of Iraq, a portion of Syria, all the way up.
What is so beautiful and so important about this is also that this book right here, this Bible. There's nobody on the planet that will argue against the relationship between the land of Israel and the Bible. There's nobody that will argue that. The problem with us as a people, we have been in religion so long, and we're not looking at this book as a trust, right? Or as a will.
That is
Once we
what it
begin to
is.
exactly, once we begin to move out of the mindset of this book is a religious a doctrine or document, and start looking at it as a lawful document, or title, right? Then what happens is we can reconnect back to this because again, um, it's not what you how to say it? How to say it? Um, it's not what you think, but what you can prove, right?
Hold that thought. Hold that thought, because I got to say something. I got to say
Go
something.
ahead, go ahead.
So this being a legal document, if the scriptures are a legal document, then understand this: there are perimeters to the will.
That's right. There you
So
go.
I want you to understand this: that whenever somebody writes down a will, there are parameters set. If there is property involved in such will, this property has to be mapped out.
That's right.
So first things first, when in 18, he gives you the parameters of the inheritance. He tells you everything east of the Nile River, all the way to the Euphrates belongs to you. This is the portion of land that is given to the seed of Abraham. Okay, now I want you to also understand this. Further along in this document, he is going to give parameters on what the inheritance have to do to receive said inheritance.
Yes, 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 yes.
Because realizing this, if you look at most rich people, I'm gonna write you out of my will. We have been written out of the will.
There you go. There you go. There you go. There
We
you go.
have
There
been
you go.
written out of the will
There you go.
until the Mashiach came back and redeemed us back into the said will.
That's right.
Or back into said inheritance.
That's right.
So
That's right.
he redeemed us back into our lawful position as heirs. See,
That's right.
this is
That's right.
why when people say I'm joint heirs with Christ, but they don't know what they
What they
have,
mean, they don't know what they're talking exactly. They
they
don't get
don't
the
know what
dignity. Yeah.
they're heirs to.
That's right. I tell you what, because this was the precept that I was looking for. Yeah, like I said, my mind had been thinking about so many things. We're gonna go to Deuteronomy chapter 32, and then we're gonna come back to Genesis. But Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 8. When you get that, let me know.
Hold on. You said 32?
Yeah, chapter 32, verse 8. Verse 8.
Boy, I am ashy as the day is long. Okay, I'm here.
Okay. Deuteronomy chapter 32, verse 8. When the Most High divided to the nations, their inheritance. Remember, we were talking about inheritance, right? We're talking about
Right.
the heir. When he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds or the boundaries of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. So again, this is the same thing. So once we get out of the mindset that this is what religion has taught us is this pie in the sky ideology.
Mm-hmm.
But this is real property. This is real land, right? This is a trust. But what we're doing is we're almost like Jacob and Esau, like Esau. We're giving up our birthright. This is a birthright, and being that like Yemi said, being that we are joint heirs, we have to understand what that look like. We have to understand that this is not something. This is not how can I say it? This is not abstract. This is concrete. If that makes sense.
Correct.
See, religion has made us argue abstract.
Facts.
This book is not a religious book. It's a covenant. It's a contract which give us contractual or give us concrete. Give us something that's concrete, something with substance. Like Yemi was
Something that
saying,
can be argued.
yeah. Like Yemi said, something for something. You have to do something in order to receive something, right?
Correct.
The blessings and the curses, right? The guidelines, the rules, the regulations, the laws, the Constitution. So this is what we have to do. We have to get back and we have to get back to this and understand this has been one of our problems. We believe in this book. We know we're the people, but we're still not understanding the magnitude or the gravity of what this is really about.
So look at this.
Mm-hmm.
If there's a reason why they don't want us to know who we are.
That's right.
For one, if this be, I'm tired of saying if this be so, but this is so.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that this is the word of the Most High and it is true, then those who are heirs or those who are descendants, not of Shem, but not just the Shem, but those who fall under the Abrahamic contract or covenant actually can go to several different countries and
Mm-hmm.
stake a claim in those countries. Because
That's
listen,
right.
Saudi Arabia is one of the richest countries in the world. Why is it
Mm-hmm.
rich? Because of what's underneath the soil.
Mm-hmm.
Dubai, the American, the United Arab Emirates, all these places that we go to visit, we want to be high rollers and big big ballers, and so
Mm-hmm.
we go to Dubai to visit. That's your inheritance. You
Mm-hmm.
going to see how somebody else living on your land. I want you to make. I want to make sense of this. When you go to Egypt, or what we call Egypt today, a portion of that is your land.
That's
You're
right.
going to see and visit how people are living on your inheritance. That is just crazy. When we take these trips to Israel and we go in there and we walk around Yerushalayim, and we go in there. We go in there and we see how they have trodden the land down. You're looking at your inheritance.
Mm-hmm. 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 Let me give one more precept out. I want to go to
Okay.
Leviticus. Yeah, I want to go to Leviticus chapter 25. Leviticus 25, verse 46 when you get there.
Hold on. Leviticus 25. You said Leviticus 25 and 46?
Oh, what take hold on, let me hold on. That's not what I wanted. I mean, it's roundabout, but I'm trying. Oh, there was another one I was looking at dealing with land. For time's sake, we'll just come back to it. We'll just come back. We'll just come back. So, what was the next chapter you wanted to go over? Yeah, I'll find it.
Let's
I'll
go to
find it.
let's since we were in Deuteronomy, let's go back to 28. I mean 29.
Deuteronomy 29.
Yes.
Uh, Deuteronomy 29. All
And
right.
let's go to 10.
Deuteronomy 29 and 10. Okay, Deuteronomy 29 in start off at verse 10.
Yeah, shalom everybody that's coming into the live.
Okay. You shall stand this day, all of you, before Yahweh, your Elohim, your captains and your tribes and your elders and your officers, with all the men of Israel, your little ones, your wives, and thy stranger that is in thy camp. For the hero of thy wood unto the draws of the water, that thou shouldest enter into covenant with Yahweh thy Elohim, and into this oath which Yahweh thy Elohim maketh with thee this day, that he may establish thee today for a people unto himself.
Hold that thought. Hold that thought. So
Okay.
on the okay, so before they even entered into the land, the father made an oath with Israel, with the descendants of Abraham, who were the descendants of Jacob, the
Mm-hmm.
descendants of the original 12 tribes, or the 12 tribes. Those descendants, those who
Mm-hmm.
went into Egypt and came out, and to all those who were attached, Now listen, all these people had to have been circumcised by the eighth day. All these things had to go on. Everything that's in the Abrahamic covenant had to be understood. But now this inheritance of the land, this part that Abraham was going to receive in 15, you're going to see now in Deuteronomy 29 as the nation walks into its inheritance. Go ahead and finish.
Okay. I'm starting at 13.
Okay.
That he may establish thee today for a people unto himself, and that he may be unto thee an Elohim, as he had said unto thee, and as to he hath sworn unto thy father, to Abraham, and to Isaac, and to Jacob. Neither with you alone do I make this covenant and this oath, but with him that standeth here with us this day before Yahweh our Elohim, and also with him that is not here with us this day.
That is important. If you ain't hear what he just said, and to him that are not standing with us today. So he's talking about what is inside of your father.
But again, this goes back to, remember the definition of inherit.
Go ahead.
To take by inheritance, to take as an heir on death of an ancestor, right? So our forefathers made a covenant with the Most High, and in that oath, that covenant that our ancestors made with the Most High, our ancestors passed down that inheritance to us, right?
Correct.
You know, and we received that as a right of title. Now, I want to go to another definition. I want to go to the definition of covenant.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna go to the definition of covenant. Covenant, an agreement, convention, or promise of two or more parties by deed in writing, right? So understand that the Most High wrote this down. He told our ancestors to write this down. Right? Okay, signed and delivered by which either of the parties pledge himself to do the other that something is either done or shall be done or shall not be done. Now, hold on. Let's go back over that right fast and see if that makes sense. If the people can really get what's being said right here. By which either party pledges, right, on oath, right, himself to the other that something is either done or shall be done or shall not be done, right? Or stipulates for the truth of a certain fact. At common law, such agreement were required to be under seal. The terms is currently used primarily in respect to a promise and conveyance of an instrument related to real estate.
Real estate.
Did we not just go over geographical location, right? That's real estate, that's property.
Correct.
Right? So again, once we start understanding that this book, again, this is why I keep saying we can't keep arguing, religious dogma. We can't keep arguing, and disconnecting from our inheritance, because that's what when we argue religion, we're disconnecting ourselves from our estate,
from the physical estate.
From the physical, and they give us the pie in the sky. Now, don't get me wrong, we are still the people. We are the physical people. You know what I'm saying? So no matter where we go, but the land still belongs to us. And remember what I said earlier. One of the things that contributes to the wealth gap is the lack of property.
Mm-hmm.
And repeat that again. One of the things that contributes to the wealth gap for us as a people is the lack of we can see that right here in the States. So just imagine worldwide. Just imagine worldwide. But go ahead, Doc, my bad.
So for them to keep us from our inheritance, all these people have become rich,
That's right.
have become wealthy because of what is underneath the ground. All these royal families, these folks in Kuwait, these folks in Saudi Arabia, all these governments have become wealthy because they have stolen from our inheritance.
What else that sound like, God? What scripture does that sound like? What you just said?
Go ahead. Go ahead. Call it out.
That sounds like Psalms 83.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds like Psalms 83 right there.
Go ahead and go to Psalms 83.
You know, let's go to Psalms 83 right there. Let's go to Psalms 83. Psalms 83. When you get there, let me know why.
I'm almost there. 2 pages away. Well, let's go back. Okay, Psalms 83.
Okay, Psalms 83. Keep not thy silence, O Elohim. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Elohim. But for lo, thy enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation.
Correct.
Let's cut them off from that land. Let's cut them off from their identity. Let's cut them off from their wealth. Let's cut them off from their resources. You feel me?
Because what we need to know as a people is this: there is more substance to us than just that little strip of land that they gave to the Ashkenazim. Our whole battle ain't with just the Ashkenazim.
That's right. That's right.
You got to understand, we have Saudi Arabians, we have Kuwaitis, we have Iraqis, we have all these people who are, we have Egyptians. Look, it is not funny that all the people who have taken our inheritance, except for the Ashkenazim, look alike.
That's right. That's right.
The Eritreans, some of the people that are in Ethiopia, they are in our possession.
Mm-hmm. That's right. That's right.
And so when you look at it, we all mad at the Ashkenazim, but the fact of the matter is there's more to it than just the Ashkenazim. They're a sprinkle.
Exactly.
Of the problem.
They're like I said, they're the tip of the iceberg.
That's it. They it's deeper than this.
Now, just for time's sake, we're not going to read all that. But if you continue to read on, it tells you again the people that were confederate against us. And the weird part about this is when you look right now in the UN, you see all these people have a seat in the UN.
Correct.
That's the mind-blowing thing. See, this is why, like I was telling Brother Yemi earlier, this is why I've gotten to the point where I just don't even argue with people that don't understand, the significance of this documentation, of this covenant, of this contract. See, we're too busy trying to have debates with people that don't believe in the book. And then even amongst ourselves, we're having too many arguments and debates amongst ourselves. And we're not understanding that this is what the adversary wants. See, but once we understand that this is a legal document, right? This is a covenant. This is a trust. This is a will. This is a constitution. Then we can begin to use this in its proper way.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? We have already, again, we have went over the boundaries. We got a geographical location with boundaries for a certain parcel of land. See, when we begin to look at this from that from that perspective, it makes it more tangible, if that makes sense. It makes it more real instead of just when we read this book, we really don't connect the dots. We hear it, but we don't really know how deep it goes. Correct. But now that we're using the legal terms, using the legal terms, now it begin to make more sense. So you want to go back to Deuteronomy out, or what you want to do?
Yeah, we can go back to Deuteronomy 29.
Okay, we stopped at verse 13.
Right. No, we stopped at 14.
We stopped at 14. I didn't read 14.
Yeah, go ahead and read 14.
Okay. Neither with you alone do I make this covenant and this oath, but with him that standeth here with us today before Yahweh our Elohim, and also with him that is not here with us this day. For ye know how we have dealt in the land of Egypt, and how we come through it the nations which ye pass by, and ye have seen their abominations in their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, which were among them. Least there shall be among you men, or women, or family, or tribe, whose heart turneth away this day from Yahweh our Elohim, to go and serve the gods of these nations, least there shall be among you a root that beareth gall and wormwood. Let me address this right fast, because again, I don't know if our people know how even just deep that part is. See, I'm gonna try to connect the dots as much as possible in this. I know I'm probably going to offend people, and I don't mean to offend you. So please, if you're offended, don't take this wrong. Understand the magnitude of the message that I'm trying. In other words, don't shoot the messenger, listen to the message. Mm-hmm. Read something again. And ye have seen their abominations and their idols, wood and stone. Let that sink in. Let that sink in. Right? Silver and gold, which were among them. Least there shall be among you men, you man and woman, or families or tribes, whose heart turn away this day from Yahweh our Elohim, and go and serve the gods of these nations, least there shall be among you the root that beareth gall and wormwood. Religion. Religion is that other God. Religion is that. See, again, we keep on associating this book with religion, and that's what he's saying. That's you. I gave you a physical. I gave you a geographical location. I gave you a name. I gave you an identity. I gave you a culture, and you turn it away for religion, for dogma.
This is not a spiritual inheritance. This is a physical inheritance.
This is a physical inheritance.
He's going to bring the Shamayim down to our inheritance. This is what people don't seem to understand.
Yes.
Why is there 12 gates?
Exactly.
With the names of the children of Israel on it. Because those are the only one. Look, you cannot take this is the thing that we got to understand too, and I really want people to understand this. Why don't I argue with Christians anymore? Because I finally come to the realization of this. First of all, there's not a Christian gate. Nowhere in the Bible does it say there's a Christian gate. To be grafted into a contract means that you must have already been into the contract. The Bible tells us that we're going to be regrafted in. Not just grafted in, but those wild branches are going to come back into the main branch. But they were branches that had been taken away from the beginning. I want this to make sense. Mm-hmm. You can't add yourself into an inheritance because the inheritance was set between two people.
But the sad thing about it, Ak, is we just read in Deuteronomy, the 32nd chapter, that when the Most High divided the nations, he gave everybody their inheritance. So you have to ask yourself a very important question. Where is yours?
Yeah, what you do with yours?
What you do with yours? That's the $1 million question. If he gave everybody a land, if he gave everybody their portion, what did you do with yours? Where is it? And the other thing is, why somebody keep giving you? Why does all the other nations have an inheritance or have a geographical location or land, and they keep telling you wait for yours in heaven, wait for yours in the sky? Why?
Henceforth, why when we go back in February to Black History Month, we always start in 1619. Because if we delve back any further, this will come out. That you have an inheritance. And the inheritance is these lands that were promised to you that are now occupied by strangers.
See, but this is the beauty of what our people keep missing though with this. People keep talking about salvation.
Right.
Salvation and restoration go hand in hand. Let me make this make sense. If somebody stole your identity, in other words, like this, if let's say there was a break-in in your house. Somebody kicked in your door and took your house from you, right? Now, they assume your identity. They take all your information and assume your identity. They kill you. 3 or 4 generations down the line, your ancestors, your heirs, your true heirs find out that the property that your neighbor, whoever stole this property from you, is not for them, but it's theirs by right. They have the documentation, they have the receipts to prove that that land actually belongs to them, right? The authorities, by law, is supposed to take, in order to restore you, to give you remedy or to give you salvation, it's supposed to protect you from those that did you harm, number one. Protect you from the people that did you harm, number one. Secondly, anything that was taken from you, give that back, restore all that.
Right.
This is why this is the whole argument behind reparations. See, what people don't realize is reparations is just not giving them money. See, this is why the so-called experts are saying, hold on. The descendants of slavery should be able to not only receive monetary or restitution or compensation for the free labor that you got from our ancestors, but restore everything that was taken with that, right? In other words, the culture, you have to pay for that.
Yes.
The land, you have to pay for that, right? You know, education, you have to restore that back. because most of this was taken through the means of miseducating.
Right.
Most of this was stolen from the people by miseducating them, taking away the right to read, the right to a fair jury, a fair trial,
That's a
the
fact.
right to own property. Let that sink in. Now let's make this make sense. Man don't give you that. The Most High give you that. That is a God-given right.
Correct.
Government cannot give you that. This is given by, see, man created government. God created, the Most High created man. So in all societies are governed and ran like this. This is why when you just look at a geographical location, there's a language and a culture and an identity that associated with that geographical location. We're the only people operate outside of that. And we operate in dogma, religion, or belief.
Oh, God's gonna take care of us when that great getting up morning. And you looking all the way past what is yours right now.
That's right.
What you can physically set your foot on.
That's right. That's right.
What you can physically put your hands on. What is tangible.
That's right.
The Ashkenazim have their own land that they can go back to. And I'm sure the Persians have a land of origin that they can return to. But it is not our property. So what the Great War really is going to be about is us receiving our land.
Exactly.
Let's not get this twisted. That little bit of property in what we call Israel right now is the tip of the iceberg when it comes to everything that sustains that land.
See, this is the thing I think that again that we miss is, like you say, when on Judgment Day, right? We're gonna use that term, Judgment Day. It's just not the so-called Ashkenazi Jews.
Right.
Remember in Psalms 83, if you read down, it talks about all the nations. Really, every nation on this planet was confederate against you. So you see, right now, they're pointing a finger at only one group, the Ashkenazi Jews, or even sometimes a white man. Right. But what's going to happen is all the information is going to come out about who was confederate against us. See, that's slowly but surely coming out. So now what's going to happen is all the finger pointing is going to come out, and now those people that was confederate, now they got to be held on charges as well. So now that's why the nations are going to come against us, is because of the fact that all this information is coming out now. Well, see, as long as we can just point the finger at one group of people or two, see, they're cool with that. It was a whole planet basically against us. It was confederate against us.
When you look at the parties that were responsible for us being in the situation that we're in, as far as nations that took up crafty counsel against us, let's see, 1, 2. Hold on. You looking at all these different nations. The Ishmaelites, the Moabites, the Haggassites, Gabal, Ammon, Amalek, Philistia, um, Tyre. All these people sat up and planned on your demise. It wasn't just what we say. It wasn't just Esau.
Mm-mm.
It was a lot of people.
That's right.
Even your own brother,
That's right.
even your own uncle,
Your cousins, the Midianites. Come
cousins.
on now. Come on now.
These people, descendants of your uncle Ishmael, other descendants of Abraham as well.
That's right.
Because we can go, they all teamed up against us because they didn't feel like they got what they deserved as an inheritance.
The sad thing about it, Aki, is this is one of the things that's been troubling me for the last few months, man. I ain't gonna lie to you. And I'm not, I don't, I hope I would rather be wrong, but the way I feel, man, you could, when you look at the way we move as a people, even in our captivity over here, this is why I always state, like, we done heard this we done heard this a lot. All Israel is not Israel. We gotta let that sink in, man. Because I stated this months, years ago. I, as a so-called Israelite man in this nation, should be able to go to any organization, any place, because of the fact that we are now. Don't get me wrong. I said this before. I know they're wicked amongst our people. I'm not saying a lot of wickedness in. I'm not saying that at all. But when you read this book, this instructions, this was a family. I don't mean no disrespect. And I hope people don't think that I'm taking shots, because our people are so sensitive, then to really take the meat off the bone and look at what I'm saying. There's a lot of people that are doing good. I'm not knocking that. But as a brother or as a sister, you should be able to fellowship with anybody out there that know they're Israel, than to feel like you're a part of a clique. Let that
Right.
sink in. That's all my point is. That's all my point is. Because, again, like I say, we know there's wicked amongst our people. You have to put away the wicked. But it still becomes wickedness when you're separating us because of, this cliquish mindset. That's what I'm getting at. It should not be this cliquish mindset. We should be family. And
Correct.
if we don't break that, we can't blame nobody but ourselves.
So we're about to close because it's been an hour. But when we come back into this next week, we're going to talk about what exactly. We already know that it was land, but we have to go into what our portion, what we had to do, what were our oaths, what were the things we were required to do
Mm-hmm.
to receive said inheritance. Now we know
Mm-hmm.
that there's an inheritance out there. Now we're going to talk about what the Father required of us as His children, or as the trust. What is it? The
And the
inheritor,
beneficiary, the
the
beneficiary.
beneficiary of this inheritance
Mm-hmm.
to do. So next week we're gonna be back 1 o'clock Central Standard Time. If you have friends, or if you know anybody that if you were blessed by this lesson, you need some more people to come in, please bring them with you. We understand that we're in the midst of these holidays, and everybody's celebrating these pagan holidays, and you are surrounded by foolishness. But we want to bring you back into the understanding of who you are. and why we do the things that we do as Hebrew Israelites or as the descendants of Jacob, of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov. So I thank y'all all for coming in and joining us today. Malak, it has been great sitting up here with you again, doing the work of the Most High Yah. Um, please, bro, don't be no stranger. Hit me up so we can finish talking about this. But we will
For
see
sure,
y'all
for
on next
sure.
week. You got anything you want to say before we go?
No, again, all I want to tell for the people, man, again, we want to try to make this make sense from a place where we can apply it.
Right.
We want to bring substance back to it because for me, one of the things I've always been passionate about my people. I love my people, love my people. Even before I got into the truth, love my people. We've been looking for remedy, and hopefully, as we grow, as we build, I want to do a better job of making it more functional, if that makes sense. Like again, make it more tangible because again, we can read the scriptures, but if we're not building, and I say building, I'm talking about building the infrastructure and teaching people and guiding people and supporting people to help them build whatever infrastructure where we can do commerce and we can do business and we can do covenants and we can do relationships, we can do all these things together collectively, then we're not really doing our job. You know, and I'm gonna say this, and again, I don't mean anything. We've been robbed by the adversary, but we've been robbed a lot by our own people, and I don't want to be a part of that. So, with that being said, shalom. Thank
Shalom,
you.
Mark. All right, everybody. We want to thank you once again for joining us here at the on the truth. We will be back next week, breaking this down even further. Tell a friend. Um, if you know anybody that has been watching us and y'all have been talking that may have fell off, find them and bring them back. We love y'all. We offer you peace. Shalom to everyone and enjoy the rest of your Shabbat.
Shalom, shalom, shalom.